Last week, I did not post an episode in solidarity to those who have lost their lives for being black in America and out of respect to the ongoing movement in their name. I'm not sure that was the right decision, but I feel that it was important to take the time to propel the movement and to use social media to boost the signal on black voices making themselves heard. As the protests continue to grow in numbers, the voices of the people will not be ignored. Over the past couple of weeks, there have been increasingly bold changes all across America, including the repeal of curfews, the removal of statues of racist figureheads, the charging of all 4 police officers involved in the murder of George Floyd, including the upgrade of charges to second-degree murder on Derek Chauvin, and, as of today's recording, the Minneapolis Police Department moving forward in disestablishing their police force. We've come farther than we have in many, many years, but have much farther to go and much more to learn. For those upset by the destruction of the riots or that the protests are closing roadways, I say to you that the protesters are a completely separate entity than the looters and pyros. The fallout from these riots are not to be confused with peaceful and powerful protests, which are propelling needed change. As a white ally, I am still learning every day about systemic racism that has driven me and the world as a whole for generations upon generations. This must change. And united we, as a people, against fascism, against police brutality, against the murder of innocent black men and women throughout the ages, will make that change. I have attempted to provide and share as many phone numbers, emails, and calls to action as I can to make sure that the officers and officials who are at fault are dealt with and that the names of the fallen are never forgotten. For George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, their families, and all those who deal with the fear, incarceration, and unjust death for the color of their skin. We must keep fighting. We must keep protesting. We must keep lifting our voices and shouting their names. Black Lives Matter. Today's guest is my friend Alexis Miranda, who is an extraordinarily talented actress, comic, and activist, who previously joined me on this program to talk about mass incarceration, and joins me in this episode to discuss systemic racism, white privilege, how things are changing, and how much they haven't. We also share some great stories, some good laughs, and some joyful tears. Our conversation was recorded on Instagram Live, and our full video conversation can be found on my IG Live on my personal Instagram page at Devlin Wilder. For an assembled list of resources, including a timeline of events, petitions taking place, where and to whom to donate, black-owned businesses, bail funds, petitions, and social media accounts to follow, as well as a number of other resources, please visit tinyurl.com/BLM Forever. That link is listed in the bio of both my Instagram and Twitter profiles, as well as in the show notes of this episode. And now, without further ado, my conversation with Alexis Miranda. Hi, Alexis. Welcome. How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Good to see you.
I know. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in, I don't know. I just see you on here.
Well, I saw you a month ago, randomly, when we passed each other at Ralph's, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Because we live in the same area, which I had no idea. I was like, yo, what's up? You're like, what are you doing over here?
Oh, yeah.
And then I came out to see your stand-up at the Comedy Store. That was before all the pandemic ridiculousness went down.
I'm like, was that Crack 'em Up Thursday?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It was a good show.
What's up, Dev?
How's it going? So,
yeah, There's a lot going on.
There sure is. You're such a hilarious comic. You're such a funny, uplifting, like energetic person. Both times that you've joined me on this program, you've spoken about very serious things. The previous time you joined me on the show, you were speaking on mass incarceration and your film, Oren.
Yes.
And here we are again. And again.
I know.
And again. And again.
Yeah. And again and again and again.
Over and over. Even though I'm doing this for the podcast, I want this to be your forum. I would like to hear your thoughts and whatever you would like to say on what is going on. How are you feeling right now? What are your thoughts? Please share with me.
It's one of those things, I saw it coming. So I think a lot of people are like really shocked and super in their feelings about what's going on right now, but it's kind of been something, because I've been on this, like talking about justice reform and all of that, and it's impacted like my family personally, and so I've already kind of been on this wave and understanding that this thing doesn't work for a lot of people, and so we haven't as a collective acknowledged that and taken the necessary steps to change it. So the people kind of said, all right, well, y'all don't want to take the steps to change it, this is what we gonna do. So I kind of saw this coming, so I'm not that worked up about it. I did protesting. I did the first night of protesting in downtown LA, and I was surprised to see how far it went. But even that kind of makes sense to me,
Mm-hmm.
Because we protested before. So I'm like, okay, well, they did the protesting and they already shut down the freeways. And then, like you said, we're here again and again and again. So I said, okay, just be logical. Okay, if they did this before, where does it go? And this is where we are. So I'm not surprised.
Now it's well overdue every time it happens.
Yeah.
It's just as it's upsetting but needed every time it happens. Right. And it keeps happening over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and we forget. We so easily forget every single time that it happens. And
it's just like a hashtag.
Of course. Right. That's why the hashtag was created in the first place, because this keeps happening over and over. Right. It's been going on for 10 days now. Mm-hmm. And just as of today, Mayor Garcetti just lifted the curfews.
Thank God.
Thank goodness. But of course, he only did it because What? Sorry?
No, I said I cut you off. My bad. Keep going.
No, actually, my battery cut us off.
Oh.
I got the little 20% alert. That drives me nuts. Of course, he only did that because he was sued by the ACLU. Because, of course, that's the only way anything really gets done, is by someone being sued or when protests happen. That's the only way the movement of
money, or you do some damage,
Of course. Right. Throw those stacks at it.
Exactly.
It's gross.
Yeah, and it should not have to be that way. But people are at a point where it's like, okay, what do we have to do? Because at this point, we'll do anything. And I saw a lot of like young Gen Z people, Generation Z, on the front lines, and they really,
they're going at it.
They're about whatever. You know what I'm saying? So people are just pushed to that point, and I understand. I'm not saying like something's right or wrong. I'm just saying I understand how we got to this place. So, yeah.
I've read so many posts, numerous posts. I've been glued to social media for the past 10 days. I've just been, my eyes are strained. I've given myself headaches from just like scrolling and posting and I've seen just all of these posts about how the looting and destruction of property is terrible. And I mean, okay, but how many people have lost their lives? And it's not, the death of George Floyd propelled this particular instance, this
I feel like there were so many things that went into like this whole situation.
But this has been happening for hundreds of years.
Right.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah. And that's a lot of George Floyd. I mean, I just feel like at this point, we're kind of saying what everybody has probably heard. Like, there's been so many George Floyds. Like, I mean, I've seen the police run up in my house personally as a child. So, like, and take my cousin out by force at 14 years old. So, yeah, it's just, I mean, this is, but look, this is what I tell people. It's like, especially when you know history, like I'm a history buff, like I love history. And one thing I know about any substantial change that we've ever made as an American society is every time there was like a huge radical change for the people, it came with this. Like, it's like America can't just have the conversation. And we just have a history of like, no, we need force to really be like, oh, we should do something about this. And that's just our trend throughout history. You know what I'm saying? Not even just, with this situation. So, like, that's also a reason why I'm kind of like, I've been calm through this whole thing. But I mean, I've seen some stuff that like I've never seen in my life. Like, just on the first night of the protest, having an officer point his weapon at me over a scooter on the ground. Like, I've never experienced nothing like that, but I was still pretty chill about it. Because I have like this knowing that this is something that we gotta, like, that has to happen. Something that we have to acknowledge it, and we gotta get through it. And I know we're gonna be better on the other side of it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not losing my mind, man. I'm not.
You gotta stay stable and propel yourself forward, and that's all any of us can do. I keep trying to find ways to boost the signal as a nerdy white boy. I mean, I can't really, if I go to the protests, and I could, I am at such a disadvantage health-wise, which is why I haven't done it yet.
Right.
Because of my stupid asthma and my shitty lungs. Because, of course, as much as I try to be a social justice warrior, and I have for a long time, I'm, with COVID still rearing its ugly head out there, I'm at a real... No one does.
No one knows.
No one knows. No. Supposedly, there's been a pretty hefty spike over the last few days in cases.
Of course they say that. I don't know.
But the stats are all over the place. Anyone can make up any statistic at any time. Who the fuck knows?
We don't know.
No one knows.
We don't fucking know.
No. I was just watching a stand-up set by Michael Che, who I love.
Michael Che.
And
Love him.
He was saying that he had a lot of great things to say in the set, One of them was, we're not just fighting for equal rights, we're fighting for civil rights. I think that's, the least that we can expect. It's Black Lives Matter, as in, Black Lives Matters. Like, that's the very bottom rung of the things that can be asked for, is to matter. Should it be Black Lives Exist? Like, it was, obviously I can't do the set justice, but it was...
I think I know which joke you're talking about. I know. I'm familiar with that joke. Shout out to Michael Che. He's one of my favorite comedians. Yeah, I mean, that's just the bare minimum. Just asking to, just kind of like declaring our value in society. So, yeah, I mean, that's where we are. That's where we are.
As a white ally, who is, trying to propel Black voices like yours and try to get the word out, what do you think is most important for someone like me to be doing right now?
What do I think is most important for someone like you to be doing? I feel like racism in itself, like being prejudiced and racist, I think what people need to understand is, I see it as like a mental illness that kind of, even if you aren't just an overt, like, I'm a racist and I'm holding up my Confederate flag, I think what a lot of people have inside of them is kind of like in the subconscious. That's why I love the video with the chick Karen in New York. She's like Karen was like a Democrat, liberal, New York, fucking highly educated white woman, and then you saw her weaponize a Black man's race against him, when she was like, I'm gonna call the police and tell them a Black man's, threatening me, just, it was so easy. It's like, it just kind of like came out of her. And, I think what most white people need to work and deal with, and it's just my opinion, is to realize, like, they're latent, like, under the surface, like, biases. Because even, like, I try to explain also racism like this, like, everything is energy, right? Like, a transfer of energy. So I think what we're looking at with, like, especially younger white people, like people in my generation, like millennials, I hear a lot of them say, like, I wasn't even taught to be racist. Nobody sat me down and said, this person is this because they're Black or whatever. But I think what we need to understand about it more than anything is, so babies, kids, they literally receive and absorb energy, and they watch what you do more than anything, and they feel your vibe as a parent. So, like, literally, like, this is so deep. You could be with your kid, right? And if a Black person passes you and you have that latent shit inside of you, and let's say you tense up or you just give off this energy of fear and being threatened and intimidated, your child receives that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they tap into that. So I think this is a conversation nobody's having, because this is more, I'm looking at this shit from a scientific perspective. It's like, this is like, you pass it down that way, And I know to some people that might be like, but nah, that shit is real. Like, you don't have to tell your 3-year-old, oh, these people are this, and they feel it from you. This is how deep it is, and that's how we, like, perpetuate these cycles, not even knowing it, not even consciously knowing you're giving this to your children. So, I mean, honestly, like, I'm radical in that. I think, like, there needs to be, like, I know this sounds crazy, but, like, transformational, like, reform type situations, active reform situations for people in mass. And I know that sounds crazy, but, like, literally, it's so deeply embedded in so many of us, and we pass it down energetically through our kids. You don't have to pull a kid off to the side and break it down for them and verbalize these things. They feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Because I've seen white people. I'll be with, like, my Black friend, like a guy, big guy, whatever, and they might, when he walks past them, there's just that, their kids absorb all of that. So what their kids receive from that is, oh, we're afraid of these people. You don't have to verbalize it. They feel it. So, anyway, I feel like that needs to be in the conversation. If we really want to like change what's going on, we have to start looking at this shit scientifically and also from a mental health standpoint, because there's a bit of psychosis involved in this shit. Like, shit is deep. It's deep. So, yeah. But that's, people, when you talk about race and like injustice, our emotions are so like, we're clouded by emotion, obviously, because, this shit pisses you the fuck off. But I feel like, if you can, some people aren't in this place, but I'm in this place. Like, somebody could walk down the street commenting on it right now, and I ain't gonna even blink. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. It was like, you really calling people the N-word in 2020? Yeah, eat a dick. So, like, I'm not tripping on that. But, like, I'm able to take my emotions out of it and really try to look at it and examine it from a scientific, standpoint. So, I feel like more people need to be doing that, because I feel like we could really come up with solutions for people who, are perpetuating this, it's violent, violence don't even have to be physical. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't like...
That's exactly what we're here to talk about. And that's not crazy at all. It's needed, because that dark energy, that flow of microaggression starts from infancy.
Yeah.
And because racism is taught. It's not it's not innate, it's not biological.
It's felt. Racism is taught, it's felt. You know what I'm saying? It's felt more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we forget, like, people don't speak in this language. Like, we're electrical beings. We're receiving and giving off currents and electricity every single day. People don't talk about this shit. It's like the reason why you can think something and the shit pop up as an ad on your phone. That should be happening. Like, I'll be thinking about stuff like that. I'm like, damn, it's like, are the towers like intercepting or like conjoining with our thought processes? Because how many times have you thought something and that shit pop up on your phone? Or you said something and it popped up on your phone? Most people say, oh, they're tapping in, they're listening to us. No, this shit is like intercepting our waves. You know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't know how to, because I'm not like a scientist. But then, I smoke weed. This is shit that comes to me. I mean, oh shit. Like,
it's connective. It's connective.
It's connective. This shit is deep, man.
I think it's both. They are listening, and everything is connective. The microphones on our devices are picking up everything we say, every single thing. And I notice it on the daily. I get personal ads all across Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, every single day. It drives me absolutely just to madness.
About that to my friend.
Every day.
Right.
It's gross. And, but then, unfortunately, that's the price of using the social media. And right now, it's so important that we have this access to be able to get the word out. Not just constantly, but immediately. Mm-hmm. There was, I was watching the live feed from the protests near the mayor's house. Mm-hmm. And I could see, they had a feed from Channel 5 from the news chopper. And I was watching the video feed that probably a lot of the protesters on the ground couldn't see. And so I was tweeting, hey, heads up.
Right.
Like, you're being flanked and you're being followed and you're about to get fucked. So
my little brother is like 10 years old. He was doing the same thing from Texas.
Yep.
He was like, sister, if you're on Fairfax, make all that
get the fuck out. Yep.
Get the fuck out. Yeah.
And of course they ended up arresting, I don't know how many people. And
I think like 500 or something that day.
Unbelievable amount of people. And those motherfuckers were stationed. They weren't stationed directly around the mayor's house. Mm-hmm. Those fucks were waiting with their police cruisers like up to a mile away while they were, oh, hi everybody. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you for everyone that's coming into the chat right now. Yeah, they were lying in wait, lines of them, to arrest these people that were just, they weren't doing anything at all. They were just, they were walking home. A lot of them were, because it was close to curfew, they were just trying to make curfew.
Right.
Those fucks.
Yo, and then, like, we had one instance, people, like, got inside our building and going from door to door, please, like, can I just chill in here until this is over, because they didn't want to go to jail. They didn't want to get arrested. So many protesters came into the building and went from door to door, and, we hit people in the trash chute, in the janitor's closet, because a lot of people wouldn't let protesters in their homes, which, I understand. Me personally, I'm about that life. I'm like, come on, let's come in. Like, let's eat dinner. Like, let's go. But a lot of people, they just didn't feel comfortable with that. And I would say also, because when I was in the downtown protest on the first night, and then I did the second night in Hollywood and Beverly Hills. And I remember when that was the first day they did the curfew. And I remember them saying, yo, they're going to ambush us and arrest everybody. That's why they're doing a curfew. And I let time go by me. And I was right there on Fairfax when the car was on fire. And it looked like a fucking movie. I'm right there in the middle of all the action. And then it hit curfew. And I was like, fuck, I'm about to go to jail. And then I just thought to myself, I was like, yo, I got to run. I said, just run. Go to somebody's house. Somebody got to let you in. Somebody's going to let you in. So, I was in that situation. And so kind of seeing other people in that situation, I was like, there's no way I could let these people in my space, because I was there. I was on Fairfax running. Like, yo, but it was so weird, because the universe is so funny. Like, that day, my phone was dying, and I was like, bitch, like, you can't be out here with no phone. And then this guy randomly is like, hey, what's your name? We started talking and walking together. And then he was like, yeah, I got this battery pack. So he gave me a battery pack in the March. And then that night I got stranded. They cut off the trains. They cut off Lyft and Uber and all of that. And I said, either you're going to go in a stranger's house or find a scooter, a skateboard or something. You're going to get the fuck up out of here. But I ended up, this random guy was like, hey, what's your name? We started talking for like 2 seconds. Gave me a ride home, So also, like, just, I don't know. I guess I said that to say, like, human connectivity is so important. And I think, like, also, like, us being quarantined and away from each other and not having a lot of human contact for the last 3 months, you know what I'm saying? Kind of
I do.
Weird space with each other. It got us in this weird space, and then we all got on masks. It's a weird space, but y'all, keep your heart open, and because if people talk about the establishment and the powers that be, well, the number one aim of the powers that be, their whole agenda is to keep people separate. That's the agenda at the end of the day. So that's what, to separate people, because you can't control and manipulate people that are united. So, it's like, nah, it's just interesting that we've been quarantined away from each other, and then this shit happened. Like, I don't know, man. I got so many theories. So yeah.
There's rarely coincidence.
Oh, ain't no coincidences in the universe whatsoever.
So this is a pretty dangerous time for all of us.
Hey, look, whatever. Even that, I'm like, whatever. I'm in it. I'm rocking. I don't know. I don't feel like it's dangerous. I personally don't feel like endangered. I don't. Personally.
That's good.
I don't.
Hold on. Speaking of battery,
what?
mine's about to go out. Hang on just a second.
Oh no, honey.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I've got enough power to grab the battery pack.
Is it professional if I smoke weed on my live?
I don't care.
Professional.
You do you. Go for it.
Go for it. That's why I'm a comedian, because so I can do whatever
That's right.
I want. Oh, shit.
Do you ever smoke on stage?
What's up?
You ever smoke on stage? Is there a venue that you could get away with that? Do you?
Yes, I did a show. It was called High Times. And all the comedians got to get on stage and smoke weed and just get fucked, like high. And at first I was like, I don't want to do it. Because when I get high, sometimes I get really weird. Like, I get weird. But it was a fun show. It was a fun fucking show. The energy was so crazy. The high shows can go like one of two ways. Like it could be really, really dope and like lasered in and everybody's like with each other, or it could just be crazy because like people get slow when they get high. So sometimes you feel like, damn, they not getting my joke, but really it's just taking them a little bit of time to like process, so the laughs are a little delayed. So, but yeah, I've smoked on stage. It was fun.
That's fun. I'd love to see one of those shows. I'm so far behind on all my, like, I follow your work and so many great comedians. And I just watched Seinfeld's new special and Patton Oswalt, and I
gotta watch that. I gotta watch it.
It's phenomenal. It's so great. It's just it's one of those shows, you know, where you can just, the Patton Oswalt show is just one of those you just sit back and just have roaring belly laughs, you know. I love that. Oh
shit, belly laughs.
That's right. I love it. I can't wait until I'm so ready for this pandemic ridiculousness to be over so that we can get back to live shows, and
that's gonna be a minute, I think.
I know.
Unless we're in the South, you know. I know that the South, they got some clubs opening up, which is why I'm going to Texas.
Are you?
In like a few days. I'm going home. You know, ain't nothing going on in LA. We can't have any live shows, and they're not doing no auditions right now. All the auditions are self-taped, so I'm like, I'm about to go home, be with my family, sleep outside. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited.
How long has it been since you saw your family?
Oh, I see my family a lot. Like,
do you?
I was in Texas for like 3 weeks last summer. But yeah, I see my family a lot, but I just really want to like be around them because I've been in LA for a while, and like my little brother like grew up without me essentially, and we're kind of, me and him, we the same person, and I talk to him sometimes and I'm like, damn, like I feel like I've just missed out on so much. And like I told you, when I was in them streets protesting, he was DMing me. He was playing Fortnite and watching the news at the same time and making sure I didn't get locked in and arrested. So we're both Gemini, so we're gonna do like a joint birthday party this summer. I'm excited.
That's nice. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I miss my family too a lot. I need to get back out to Illinois and go visit them. I haven't been out there in a few years, so I'm working on. I talk to him every day though. In fact, I hadn't talked to my dad on the phone today. We usually talk at least, you know, a few minutes over the phone almost every day, pretty much every day. And I texted him. How
did your dad feel about all this? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Not at all. We got serious on the phone yesterday. And my dad loves people. He's trying to understand what's going on. He doesn't fully get it, I don't think, as far as the destruction. Right. Which I understand, because it's a very hard thing to, it's a hard concept to get, and I'm still learning. We did get a little heated, though. Of
course, I already know it.
Because
your dad is a hot man from a certain generation.
He is. He is.
Okay.
And I went at him a little bit, and then I felt bad, and I just let it go because I didn't. It's I prize those few minutes that I talk with my dad every day, and he wakes up at 4 or 5 a.m. every day, and then he goes to bed at 6 or 7. Like, he's not awake that long during the day. Well, he is, but then that's fine. So we usually talk in the afternoon, and I didn't want to. We've gone around so many times, and he has gotten so much better. He really has, especially since he got with, since he remarried.
Oh, congratulations!
Well, that was 15 plus years ago now, but she got him in line. I'll say that. She got him in line, and he's not beyond learning. He definitely he's open to learning, and he's open to being educated. But like all of us, he has a long way to go. So
I feel that.
But I talk with him every day. I talk with my mom every day. I really, they miss me a lot. We're.
Go to your mama and your daddy, Devlin. Get to Illinois. Go see your parents.
I'm going to.
Well, hey Pete, what's up?
Hey Pete.
Wild in the building. He's a rock star.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he does rock and roll music.
Awesome.
He fired.
Money Mo Green too. Welcome.
Hello, Money Mo Green.
Money Mo.
But yeah, man,
I will. I'm gonna get out there before the end of the summer, and
okay.
I like to go out there for a week or 10 days and just have some nice family time.
Yeah, it's important.
It is.
I mean, now we can do it.
Right.
LA grits right now.
Yeah,
grits right now.
I know that the governor is trying to put some things into effect, and I know SAG-AFTRA has been working on a lot of things to try to put some things into effect. But I've been reading all of these, the guidelines that they're trying to put forward when productions open up, and I'm exasperated because there's just no possible way that any of the plans that I've seen can be viably put into effect.
Like what?
Well, it's just like, like SAG-AFTRA sent me a long email that I was reading through where background is going to be pretty much out of the picture for a while. And probably audiences, because they're going to try to keep social distancing in place while on set, which I don't understand how that's fathomable. I don't understand how that's actionable in any way.
Right.
Unless they're doing every single, shot with green screen, and I don't know how they're going to pull that kind of thing off.
I'm just at this point, I'm like, is it really necessary? It's just like, okay, you book a production. I think everybody on the production needs to be screened for coronavirus.
Well, they're going to do that.
I mean, they'll leave it there.
And they're supposedly they're going to have a corona specialist on all the major sets and lots. But that's going to be, it's going to take 4 hours to get into the... It's going to take 4 hours to get onto set before you could even start shooting.
How do you become a corona specialist? How?
I don't know. I want to do that. I mean, where do we sign up?
For real.
As long as we don't have to, take it into our bloodstream to be, as long as we don't have to be a guinea pig for it to get the specialization.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Wild
They don't know
stuff.
what they're talking about.
It's a weird world, man.
Yeah.
And it's only getting weirder.
Back to production, so Atlanta, they're doing a thing. They're gonna have sets, and that's another thing I don't understand. How does like one state gets to do this, and then another state's like, we just don't know how to. I'm like, dude, Atlanta's doing it, and I don't want nobody to think, because some people may say like, I don't know, people, southern states are getting a bad rep in this whole Corona thing, and I just feel like no one really has answers, like for real. And I honestly,
that's the show.
Know what to believe at this point. I just don't.
Well, no one's doing it right, because no one knows. Right. No one has enough specific guidelines on how to go about it. We have government entities that's entire job is to be prepared for this kind of thing, but then, of course, we have President Cheeto in the White House, who, we don't need to touch on that. So,
and this is a movie.
It's a whole anthology. Like,
it really is.
It's an encyclopedia of sequels.
But it's crazy. Like a lot of this, like, I don't know if you're into astrology, but a lot of astrologers have been saying this about 2020 for a very, very long time. Like, I've posted stuff about like 2020 and specifically things that would happen. So I don't know. I'm one of them crazy people. I believe in some type of like higher like order, some type of. And I'm not saying it's a man in the sky, with a beard, orchestrating shit. But I do believe in like a higher, I don't know, consciousness or something, spirit. Kind of like, that's why I don't trip on shit really, because I feel like, okay, humanity is going to get through it, whatever, because we're always evolving, we're always getting better, but we go through our shit. That's just the way it goes. So I know we're gonna be good, and it's like, and if we're not, and if we self-destruct, okay, we just self-destruct. That's how you gotta look. That's how you gotta look at the shit. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the weed. I just look at all this like, hi.
I don't think so. I think that's just you, because you are a very forward thinker, and you always have been as long as I've known you, and that's one of the many things that propelled me to get in touch with you, to have you on the show before, was I'm always lifted and propelled by your words. You speak very well, you're very knowledgeable, and you keep calling yourself crazy, but I think it's not crazy at all. I think you're crazy like a fox. You are, you're one of the most intelligent and eloquent and talented people that I know, and that's why I wanted to speak with you today, because you have a lot of you have a lot of smart and great things to say.
I received all of that. Thank you so much, and thank you for always reaching out and just, I don't know, like, you get me. You get me. I appreciate that. And I appreciate what you do, man, because you've been, you aren't one of those people who, you popped up in the middle of the protest and the George Floyd shit, and it's like, I'm an ally. Like, you've always been, like, about this, and, yeah, that's really dope. I feel like people should know that you've always been on this wave since I've known you. So, I appreciate you for being an awesome human being. And to me, you always try to put, like, you always try to get down to the truth. You know what I'm saying? And, like, put that out there. And you champion the truth. And you champion what's right. And I really appreciate that about you as well. For real, Dev.
Thank you. As you said, I received that. And I appreciate it a lot. I'm a little choked up by that. Thank you.
No, you can cry.
I'm shedding a few tears here. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
It's
Thank you for that.
You got a great heart. You got a great soul.
So do you.
You got good energy, and people out here see that, and yeah, man, you do. And I thank you. You're always giving dope people a platform with your podcast and all of that, and yes, and you're open, and you're like your dad. How you said your dad is like willing to learn. I feel like that's so important, and so many people past a certain age, they just feel like they don't need to know anything else, and it's like, nah, the world is still spinning, and it's changing, and yeah. So I appreciate you. You have the same trait that your dad has, and that's the most important thing to me. Just the openness and willingness to try to understand. So yes, thank you.
Thank you for all of that. My dad is a very kind man. He's a very kind man, and he's a very intelligent guy, and he is, he is of a certain generation for sure.
Yeah.
And I had some very interesting conversations with his dad, my grandfather, who was also of a certain generation, and but my grandfather fought, and he had a lot of important things to say, which I wish I had the foresight of recording. My great grandmother, who now passed a couple years ago, was 98 when she went, and wow,
98.
98. Every time I would go to her house, I didn't even have to say, how you doing? She would start into some incredible story about living during wars, and her working in the fashion district, and she had an unbelievably incredible life. And I thought many times that thought broiled in my brain about I should really take out my phone right now and start recording. But then every time I had that thought, I immediately also thought, is that disrespectful? Is it disrespectful to ask? And then I asked myself that question over the years, and then of course she passed, and I don't have that chance anymore. So if you're listening, Clythera, I thank you for sharing those stories with me. Do you have a grandparent who has those stories?
Yeah, both my grandmothers are alive, but they're still so young, to be honest. I got young grandparents. They got iPhones and stuff.
Oh, wow.
One of my grandparents, she just called and asked me, can I burn her a CD and put some R. Kelly songs on it? So.
Wow. Really hip grandma. That's awesome.
I want some R. Kelly. I want some. I'm like, do you know, have you seen that R. Kelly documentary? But
wow.
So, and with them, I record our conversations all the time, and I don't even tell them. And when I go home, to see, well, one is in Boston, one's in Texas. I film them. I'll be at the house. I'll just have the cameras going, because that's our history. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got history books, but I feel like the best history is what we learned from the people that came before us, because they actually lived through whatever, So I'm always turning on cameras, and I don't tell them. I'm hella disrespectful, hella stealthy with it. I don't care.
Just getting it done. Yeah.
Just getting it done, because I don't want to look back and be like, damn, I should have. And my grandfathers are both deceased, dead. Dead just sounds so bad. My grandfathers both dead. They both dead. I have a great grandmother too that's still alive, and she funny as hell. And it's funny, we were talking about how racism is really a mental illness too, and a psychosis. She is my great grandmother is a Caucasian woman, blue eyed, and just the shit that's come out of her mouth over the years That woman loved me to death. Loved me and my brown cousins to death. But the shit that just be dropping out of her mouth, and like, I just be like, and she's one of my greatest teachers when it comes to like racial, just all the shit that we were talking about. Like, I just think about her and just some of the experiences I've had with her over the years and conversations we've had and things that I've heard her say that I have to be like, where is that coming from? But then I also have to understand this motherfucker was conditioned in the 30s and 40s, and you know what I'm saying? And that doesn't go away. How you think about like how hard it is to change a simple habit, let alone like a latent like way of thinking. Shit is tough, you know. So
cutting myself off from Mountain Dew for 3 days is a whole trial. So
it's
like,
fucking trial. You know, I'm like, bitch, we not
no chocolate. What?
Oh, and it's so hard for me to not eat chocolate. So
it's a whole thing.
You know, it's a whole thing, and that's just like an outer physical, tangible habit. I mean, you go into the brain, and like that's why they put kids in school 8 hours a day, because they're like, okay, this is how we program society. It's all about conditioning the mind to be and do whatever. So, because it's really hard to, you know, I mean, it can be done, but it's a challenge, and a lot of people don't have the time and the energy to even take on that challenge. Everybody's honestly just kind of in this rat race in America, trying to survive and pay bills and shit, let alone like I gotta reprogram my way of thinking. You know, like people ain't. I feel like it's a luxury to be able to like self-reflect and look at your life and the way you think and rework it. That's a luxury. A lot of people don't have that time. So I get it. Everybody trying to survive.
But for those who do take the time.
For those who do take the time. And I know some people, you know, like I said, people are trying to eat and pay their bills. So if you go up to them and tell them, hey, you should do like these reform classes and change your, like, get the fuck out of my face. I'm tired. I just want to sit on the couch.
We all do, but then I applaud and completely agree with your previous suggestion, which I don't think is crazy at all, about starting from the get-go, starting those classes and those practices from, you know, kindergarten, preschool, whatever, so that
I think adults need it more than anything. The babies are still free, you know. Babies are free. Adults need that type of rewiring more than anybody. And
what do you think would be the best way to institute those practices?
So I did this thing. It's called, some people thought it was a cult. No, I was not in a fucking cult. They call it a transformational course. And basically it's an emotional technology. That's crazy. That's a crazy phrase. But it was basically all different people from different walks of life. They gave us the tools to basically go inside of our brains and like wipe our shit. Like basically clean your brain out, like wipe your slate clean, if that makes any sense. So I was with the same people. The first 2 parts of the program lasted 3 weeks. And then the last part was like a 3-month leadership course training. And I can't really talk about the exercises and what we did. But when I tell you that was the craziest shit I ever did in my life, and it really just like, first of all, when I came out of this shit, we had a graduation and we got to invite our families and friends. And my mom thought we was all high off Molly or some shit. Like my mom was so terrified because everybody in this group, we had roughly 70 people in this transformational training, and 70 people, like I said, from different walks of life. So white, black, Mexican, because we had gangbangers, we had celebrities, we had doctors, lawyers, different kinds of people in this program. And after, we were all like, just present and in our bodies and with each other and just open and loving everybody. And we didn't come into this training like that. This shit really, it was fire. But you have to sign NDAs to go through.
Those darn NDAs.
Yeah, you have to sign NDAs because I guess they don't want you, going out, I don't know, taking they want to make their
proprietary information.
Right, they want to make their money, but I feel like the public should have access to these sorts of things. And a lot of times with some of these huge corporations, like they'll send their employees through these trainings. Like Oprah sent her employees through these trainings. So it's shit like that out there in the world. But I mean, the training altogether was like a couple racks, like 4 racks, 4 G's, like $4,000.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, it's expensive shit. But I feel like, and so anyway, when I went through the training, I thought to myself, damn, I want to take this to prisons. So they have stuff out there that helps people like reprogram their minds, recondition themselves, and like work through trauma and stuff like that. But just the average person that doesn't have the access.
I certainly don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I feel like stuff like that should be affordable and highly accessible for people. And if I were ever, I'd love to go into politics one day. But if I do, I would be talking like that. I would be on the podium talking like that.
But right now, it is something that is only available to those who have the financial means.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely think that would be a phenomenal practice to institute in the schools across the nation, across the planet, so that all people can have access to it, and so that the systemic racism that's permeated our entire society, our entire culture, our entire civilization, our existence for so long wouldn't, that permeation would be broken, and that would be a really beautiful thing. I am disturbed that we are going to be cut off very soon by Instagram, who only allows us to have an hour of live time. So
that's great. Did we're at an hour?
I think we really talked about some very important things. I think we, I won't say we, you presented some very great, you presented a lot of great practices and things that allies can do. Where can people find you? I want to make sure that they watch your right here on the grams, baby.
Instagram.
And
and then you can find else from here. But like Instagram, YouTube, Twitter.
And your handle here is
Lex the God. God.
I love that.
G-A-W-D.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Alexis, thank you so very, very much. I
Absolutely.
appreciate you. I appreciate your words. I appreciate your spirit. I appreciate everything about you. I'm so glad to have you as a friend. I'm really glad we had this conversation today. Sorry that I was a jerk and postponed it at the very last minute yesterday.
I don't care. Quarantine. Y'all forget we still quarantine. I ain't got nothing to do besides protest, but I think that's
and
over.
for all of those who are able, I please get out there and protest. Speak the names of those who have been murdered for being black in America. We got to keep fighting. We've made some changes. We got a hell of a long way to go. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, Alexis.
But we going there. That's the important thing.
We
Thank
sure
you
are.
so much. Sending you love always.
You too.
Enjoy your day, love.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Remember, you can follow me, as always, across all the places at Devlin Wilder. That's DEVLINWILDER. And Faux Real at Faux Real Pod. That's FAUXREALPOD. That's it for this one. See you on the next one.